Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. Happy Bank Holiday Monday. I hope you guys are all enjoying the long weekend. Let me know down below. Did you enjoy the game against Wolves yesterday? 1-1 in the end. I thought overall we were the better team. We had more possession, we had more shots. We just couldn't quite put the ball in the back of the net. But thankfully, St. Max saved it with a fantastic effort from outside of the box. I think we're in a war against our own players for goal of the season. Shaw's banger, St. Max's banger. Who's going to score the next screamer? So yeah, 1-1 in the end. Let me know your thoughts on that down below. I want to talk a little bit about that today, about the players who were missing. Bruno unavailable, Isak not quite ready yet, and how does that affect us going into this season, because transfers are still underway. We've got until Thursday 11 PM, so 4 days to go until the transfer window ends, and things are still going on in the background. Dubravka looks like he's on his way out the door. It's understood that he has now agreed personal terms with Manchester United. I want to talk about that. The Athletic are reporting that Gallagher and Pulisic, the two Chelsea players that we are being linked with, are set to stay at Chelsea this summer. I want to talk a little bit about that. It's also reported that the Times haven't placed the bid. The Times are reporting that Crystal Palace have placed a £27 million bid for Conor Gallagher. So we knew that the players weren't just lining up to join Newcastle. You know, there are other teams interested as well, and we could have a bit of a war on our hands to see how we get on with that one. Álvarez, the Ajax defensive midfielder that we reportedly placed bids for last week, is still in the news coming out. It's mainly Dutch reports coming out, so obviously Ajax over in the Netherlands, it's their reports that are kind of coming out and saying that we are placing these bids and we are interested in the player. No real, I would say, mainstream outlets. The Sun have reported it, but I wouldn't know Sky Sports, nothing like that just yet on him, but a very good player and in a position that we could really use some extra help in. And Lucas Paquetá looks set to join West Ham. It's understood that he had his medical at West Ham yesterday, and that is ultimately potentially going to be announced as a West Ham player later on today. So there's loads to get through in this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do so. As I say, 4 and a bit days left of the transfer window. I'll be back every single day, and I'm hoping with some good news for Newcastle. As I say, I do expect us to bring in more players before the end of the window. Who it's going to be, what it's going to be, we don't know. But subscribe, be sure to check out. And we've got games as well. We've got Liverpool on Wednesday, Crystal Palace at the weekend. Loads going on. Do not miss it. Hit that big red button. It really helps the channel as well. So if you do, a massive thank you from me. Now we're going to start off with something completely different that I've not even mentioned yet. Renan Lodi. Remember him? The fullback from Atletico Madrid that we were being linked with right back at the start of the window, understood to be good mates with Kieran Trippier. Well, he is set to join Nottingham Forest on loan. So that's another player that we have been linked with this window that looks like is going elsewhere. And as I've mentioned, he is not the only player that we have been linked with who looks like is going elsewhere, because Lucas Paquetá now looks set to join West Ham. He's a player that has been spoken about quite a bit this window. In terms of links to Newcastle, it's mainly been that he's on Eddie Howe's mythical list, but that we were never quite in for him. Well, we know that he wanted to join the Premier League. He handed in a transfer request at Lyon, and he now looks set to join West Ham. In fairness, of all the teams he's been linked with, I didn't actually think West Ham was the one he was going to go to. I thought it was going to be Arsenal, to be honest. But I think the price was going up and up and up, and now it looks like they are willing to pay as high as 60 million for the player. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic talent, and I am gutted, to be honest, just because he's a player that is of real quality that we've heard the name of so many times this window. And had he just stayed at Lyon until January or the summer, then I think we would have gone back for him. But once he joins West Ham, once he's a Premier League player, that price is only going to get higher. So yeah, I wish him the best of luck over there. And in terms of players leaving Newcastle, before we get on to players joining, well, it looks like Dubravka is set to join Manchester United. Let me know your thoughts on that one down below. Now, we know, and Eddie Howe said it himself in his press conference, that we had been talking with Manchester United about the potential of Dubravka going, but he'd said that he hadn't been in contact with him, like Dubravka hadn't agreed terms. Well, it is now being reported that Dubravka has been given permission to talk to Manchester United and that he has agreed terms with them. It's understood a loan deal with a $5 million option to buy at the end of the season. I've spoken about this one quite a bit, so I'm not going to go into it too much. I mean, if you're a Manchester United fan who stumbled across this video, you're getting a fantastic goalkeeper. In fact, if you're a Manchester United fan, let me know down below, what do you think of the Dubravka move? Because it's an interesting one for me. I know that De Gea has a mistake in him. De Gea has a mistake in him, but he's still a top class player. And I think the thing with Dubravka is, it sounds like he wants to go. I don't know if he feels a little bit like he's been, usurped and moved to one side to bring in a new goalie. Nick Pope, for all these years it was Dubravka was number one. New manager comes in, brings in Pope and goes, yeah, you can sit on the bench for a bit. And Dubravka's a number one. Dubravka is a very good goalkeeper and he should be playing first team football in the Premier League. And because of that, I believe that's why Newcastle are being quite relaxed over him going out the door. And you also don't know what's going on behind the scenes. If Dubravka's sitting there sulking and upset, Eddie Howe's did a fantastic job of bringing this team together, that great camaraderie. The team are all a joint as one. And if you've got someone who's kind of a bit like, well, I don't want to be here, I want to go, then maybe there is a benefit to the overall team of letting them go. Now, that does not help if, God forbid, Pope picks up an injury and we're back to Carl Darlow again, who, I'll be honest, has played very well for Newcastle at times, so I'm not going to put him down. I think he's a very good number two. He's just not as good as Dubravka. So let me know your thoughts on the Dubravka one down below. It would not surprise me, and it sounds like Dubravka wants the move. That's what I mean. Whether he's going to be number two at Manchester United when he gets there, who knows? Maybe he feels like he's got more of a chance of getting a game over there. Maybe he just wants to change things up in the Premier League. Maybe he just fancies something new. We don't really know, but it sounds like Dubravka is going to go. So let me know your thoughts on him down below. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Wolves game. I thought we did all right. It was going to be a tough game going there. I had no illusions that it was going to be a tough game. And when you start the game with key players like Bruno unavailable, Wilson injured, Isak unavailable yet because of a work permit that I'm hoping is going to get resolved very, very quickly. The Bruno one, it's understood that he could miss a few games, according to Eddie Howe. Well, I'm hoping the first one was Wolves, the second one's Liverpool this week, and he'll be back for Crystal Palace, because that's how much of a big player Bruno is to this side. And it is a tough one, because Longstaff came in. I don't think Longstaff did particularly great, but we're comparing him to how Bruno would have done, which is an unfair comparison. I thought Anderson did really well when he came on. I thought the move to bring Target and Fraser on was really good as well. I just think we need that little bit more this window. And Eddie Howe said it himself. This isn't new news. We've brought in Isak, but Eddie Howe has said for a long time that he wanted to bring in two players, if not three. We've brought in one in Isak, attacking players, I should say. Isak's come in. I think we're still very much in for another player. And I think the Wolves game was an example where we had a couple of injuries and we're just trying to fill the holes. It is really tough, because let's be honest, other than Man City and Liverpool, and maybe, Chelsea are bringing in quite a few players at the minute as well, Arsenal are trying as well, but generally, the majority of the Premier League, the minute you have your top striker injured, your top midfielder injured, you're not going to play as well. That is it. That's the same for every team. If you have your top two players unavailable, it's going to be really tough to bring in players off the bench who are going to do as good. That's just simple fact. So people are at the moment saying, we need to buy this and we need to buy that. And I do totally get it. And if we could go out there and buy this and buy that, that would be spot on. Why not buy 5, 6, 7 new players and have a totally like for like bench? That would be the dream. And that's hopefully where we're going to get to in the next couple of years. But for right here, right now, we are still a side that if we have a couple of key players injured, it's going to be a struggle. And I'm hoping we are going to indeed try and fill a few gaps this transfer window, but it is going to be very tough. Let's talk about the Chelsea loan players. Now, we've been heavily linked with the Chelsea loan players throughout this window, and let's be honest, I think a lot of teams have been linked with these players. Pulisic was a player who was understood to want to come to Newcastle. Gallagher has been highly linked with a move to Newcastle as well. But Thomas Tuchel has been quite open in the fact that he has said that he would pretty much like to keep every player he can this window because of the fact that there's a World Cup in the middle. Because you can now make 5 substitutes a game. You know, they're doing it as well. As much as we're trying to bring new players in, it's as important to try and hold on to as many of your good players. Because you're going to need as much resource off the bench this season as possibly any other season we've had previous. So it's going to be a tough one, and it isn't made easier when other teams are involved as well. Now, the Times are reporting that Crystal Palace have made a £27 million bid for Conor Gallagher. If that's true, it's bad news for us. Because if we're honest, Chelsea, I think at this point, if they were going to let Gallagher go, they would take the money. They would take... That's a big bid for a player that really isn't part of their first team plans. Now, I know that I've just said that he would like to keep players, but really, they're trying to buy Gordon. They're trying to buy all sorts of players. They could use that money somewhere else for a player to replace him with a player they can buy. Newcastle, it's understood, are really trying to just get him on loan and say thank you very much for that one. We'll take him as a freebie. Let's see what else is going on. So if that's true, it's bad news for us. We'll have to wait and hear, but I do not doubt for a second that other teams are interested in these Chelsea players. And he was on loan at Crystal Palace. They know exactly what he can do. And I think the fans would be absolutely buzzing if they were to really go out and spend that money and bring in a player of his talent. So we'll have to wait and hear, but I've said it before. Chelsea isn't the only team who loans players. There is other options out there. We've heard Renan Lodi go out on loan to Nottingham Forest. I'm hoping similar to the Isak one. There are obviously names that we've heard quite a few times now, but we had heard Isak months ago and nothing had been heard, and then boom, 72 hours he's come in. So I've got the faith in Dan Ashworth, in Eddie Howe, that there could well be some other loany talks behind the scenes as well. And we'll finish off with Álvarez, the defensive midfielder from Ajax, the Mexico player with a whole load of caps, really held in high regard. And as I've mentioned earlier, with the likes of Bruno, yes, he was injured. Had we had the option to potentially bring in an Álvarez, would be fantastic. As well as the fact that I would love to see Bruno be able to flourish as that number 8, that forward playing player. To do that, I think with Shelvey injured, we could do with someone who's more able to play that slightly more defensive role, and Álvarez would be fantastic. As I say, a lot of the reports coming out originally 48 hours ago, 72 hours ago, were around the fact that Newcastle had placed a first bid for around 25 million. Reports coming out saying that Newcastle have now placed a second bid of between 50, 55, 60, 65 million. Again, a lot of the reports at the moment are kind of Dutch reports coming out. The Sun have reported it. And I think the big thing to take from this is that we're in the market. We're out there, we're discussing this, and we are certainly in for players. Having just spent 63 million on Isak, can I see us now spending another 60 million on a midfielder? Who knows? Who knows? We're just living in this new Newcastle world now where anything could happen. So I'm praying that something like this could pull off before the end of the window. It's hard to see. at this moment in time because of the fact that we've already spent quite a chunk, over 200 million this calendar year. Could we make it 250 before the window ends? We just don't know at this point. And he's a player that I think would be huge. Would be huge because, especially with the Shelvey injury, straight away Bruno picks up an injury and we're looking at, you know, Anderson's done great, and I would love to see Anderson feature way more this season. And that's the thing, we do have players in that position. We'll just need to get them all clicking. It's kind of like in that Tranmere game where we kind of just shoved a whole load of players on the pitch who don't normally play and went, good luck. And they didn't really click, didn't really work. We had to bring Trippier on. He saved the day. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts on Álvarez down below. Let me know your thoughts on the Chelsea player links. What do you think we can get done in the next 5 days? Is there a chance we will go out and spend money, or do you think it will just be the loan market? It's going to be an interesting final few days, because I do very much believe that I'm really hoping we will bring in another player, if not two, before the window ends. And it could well be just like some of the transfers we've seen this window, boom, out of nowhere, and it's going through. So let's hope that's the case. If you are still watching 15 minutes later and you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. We're back for videos every day. So much going on at the minute. Be sure to subscribe. As I mentioned, it really helps me, it really helps the channel, and it means you guys do not miss a video. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.